Going on, everybody? It's Coop here. I've wanted to read more of my book of Ron Burgundy here of Let Me Off at the Top. We left off at page 51 where he is starting to talk about his hair. So let's jump right into the chapter of my hair. First of all, I'd like to dispel the 9 most popular myths about my hair. Myth number 1. My hair is called Andros Papanakis. It is not. I have no name for my hair. Myth number 2. My hair was bestowed upon me by the gods. This one is hard to dispel. It would have been just like Zeus to make such a gift, or Hermes. But even though I've called on these two gods many times, I have never been told specifically by either one that I was given my hair. So I have to say no to the gift from the gods theory. Myth number 3. My hair is insured by Lloyd's of London for $1,000. Nope, it's $1,500. Thank you. Myth number 4. My hair won't talk to my mustache. This is basically true, but I would hardly call that a myth. Myth number 5. My hair starred in the movie Logan's Run. It was definitely up for the part of Logan, but that eventually went to Michael York. He did an excellent job in the film, and to this day, it's still considered the best film of all time. Myth number 6. My hair on my head is the exact same as the hair on my crotch. Don't I wish? Myth number 7. My hair was the principal cause of the overthrow of the Chilean government in 1973. This one is true. Look it up. Myth number 8. Each strand of my hair carries the DNA from not only a complete Ron Burgundy clone, but also a duck-billed platypus. This is incorrect. Scientists at Georgetown University studying my hair strands have detected the DNA from 8 different semi-aquatic mammals. The platypus is nowhere in sight. Myth number 9. I wear a toupee. Sure, I wear a toupee. And women don't have vaginas, and cats don't have dongs. Seriously, this is not a myth. Just an insult. Stop it. This is my hair. You can't have it. You can't buy it. You can't burgle it, but you can enjoy it on top of my leathery, oversized head. I would love to be able to report to you that my hair is the work of many hours of teasing, combing, conditioning, dyeing, fluffing, and whatever else men do for vanity's sake, but it's simply not the case. I was born with my hair, and that's that. I could be cruising down the road in a new convertible sports car with a topless beauty queen at my side. She could be feeling me a thick New York strip steak and pouring me a tall glass of scotch as I drive. In the back seat of the car, there could be a stuffed bear and Johnny Carson. But as that car sped up, most guys on the street would look up and say to themselves, "Man, I wish I had that hair." It's just a simple fact. My hair is great. I've always had it, literally from the day I came out of the womb. From what I was told, on first seeing me come into this world, the doctor and the nurse stood dumbfounded and then ordered the entire hospital in the delivery room because they thought perhaps they had witnessed the second coming of Christ. No, they hadn't. It was just me, Ron Burgundy, and my perfect hair. Ed Harkin, my boss at Channel 4, once joked that if anyone ever cut my hair like Samson, I would lose my power. I laughed deeply and heartily for many hours and lost no sleep at all over his wit. Several days later, a little more anxious, I went to the San Diego Public Library and asked if they had any books on this Samson guy. Little known fact, turns out he's mentioned in the Bible. It's just a blurb, really, but that's pretty cool to get a mention in the Bible. It wasn't a well-written story, but I got the gist. It was comforting to know the whole story, and I was able to function without much incident having this new knowledge of what happened to Samson's hair. Knowing all about Samson and his girlfriend Delilah did not make me nervous, and I hardly spent any time thinking about what would happen if someone cut my hair off. It was fairly easy to not think about it, although at night for a few hours I would give it a thought. Why did he tell her? It made no sense. I guess women always want to know the source of our power. That's why they sleep with us, right, guys? Anyway, I know that it calms me immeasurably to know all about Samson and what happened to him. That's why I was surprised a few weeks later during our production meeting when I yelled out very loud, "Ed Harkin, if you touch my hair, I will cut your face up like a root grinder, and your friends will spend the rest of their lives too terrified to look at the mess I left behind. Do you understand me? Do you?" I believe I had a 12-inch hunting knife in my hand at the time I said it. Long story short, my hair is not mythological or magical in any way. It's very simple, a great gathering of hair strands formed in such a way as to be undeniably perfect. And I am not nervous about someone cutting it off someday. That doesn't make me nervous. Now, I know in the past you've seen pictures of me in the ads section of the San Diego Union Tribune endorsing this or that hair product, but I'm here to tell you it's all a lot of horse crap. I say and do a lot of stuff for money. One thing I've always stayed true to, even it meant ever never compromising, is that Ron Burgundy is for sale. I'll endorse anything if there's money on the table. Seriously, if some dirty greasebag flies into the town with a bottle of cat urine and pays me enough money to say it will make your hair look like mine, I'll do it. Just know your hair will never look like mine. That's not to say I don't on occasion use product. All Anchorman use product. Most of the better hair products have either lost traction with today's youth or been discontinued by the EPA. Over the years, these were the products I came to trust. But that no longer exists for one reason or another. Fred McMurray's Mangum. One of the best ever. Was the go-to hair product growing up. It came in a 1-gallon bucket and had the consistency of axle grease. You could use it as axle grease in a pinch, but at a quarter a gallon. Why waste it? In the 60s, they discovered that lead chips were not safe and Mangum lost flavor with hair lovers. Harmon Killer Brew's Head Goo. If you were a sports nut like me, you couldn't wait to squeeze out a tube of Killer Brew's Head Goo before heading out to the movies. More like plaster of Paris than a malleable gel. It went on wet, and minutes later you had a rock hair on your head and that no force could change for days. We just loved it. Like all plaster-based products in those days, the lime content was pretty high. One day, it disappeared from the shelves with an offer to join in a class action lawsuit. No harm, no foul, I've always said. Baseball legend Harmon Killebrew took the R out of his name and became Killebrew. It was enough of a name change to hide him from the lawsuit and any culpability relating to all the seizures. Exxon hair tar. This stuff was everywhere, and it really did the trick. It was the only hair product with the words completely edible on the label. Not that you would eat it, because it tasted like farts and clams, but it got thrown into a lot of pastry recipes around where I grew up, and no one cared a lick. It took a while to work it into your hair, and it was pretty sticky stuff. But once it was applied, look out, James Dean. It also helps if you had black hair because that's the only color it came in. A shipment of Exxon hair tar spilled out on Route 66 in Indiana in 56, and they closed down the highway for half a year. Every animal and a piece of vegetation was annihilated within 10 miles of the spill. Sad when you think about it. In a gesture of true American courage, Exxon owed up their goof by saying they were sorry for what the truck driver did, and that truck driver would have been fired if he had lived. Gosh darn it, sometimes I wish we all could stand so tall in the face of our failure. Dr. Long's Love Sauce. Frankly, this was the best of the bunch. It could only be found in adult bookstores and the backs of gentlemen's magazines. But if you got your hands on a tube of this creamy sauce, it made all the rest look like turds. No one knew anything about Dr. Long, except that he was a real doctor who specialized in hairology, and that he had discovered his sauce while hiking in Tibet. It smelled a bunch like socks and yeast, so you had to keep your distance from other people. But the glow it gave your hair was worth it. I liberally put this on my head 3 times a day for 4 years, but then decided I needed human touch, and I put it away. Years later, I did a story on Dr. Long, only to discover he was not a real human at all, but just a made-up name. The real Dr. Long was a bunch of researchers at Exxon Oil. Ingenious! In the end, because I'm such a hobby lover, I conducted my own special hair formula through trial and error. It took 6 years to get the perfect balance, but here it is, my gift to those of you who honor your hair with love and affection. So, ingredients: eggs, 6 to 8. Bourbon, half a bottle. Beer, Schaefer, 4 cans. Maple syrup, a full bottle. Rotten apples, 4. 1 gallon of coconut milk. 2 cups of paint thinner. 2 tins of shoe polish. 20 bouillon cubes. A bowl of cat urine. 2 to 6 pages of wet newspaper, and 1 can of cream of broccoli soup. To prepare, throw all the ingredients into a large lobster pot and stir vigorously. Add paint, color optional when necessary. Cook till boiling and then let cool. Recipe makes enough for 1 or 2 applications. Your hair will look shimmery and stout all day. Hey, I'm just pulling your chain. My hair looks this way when I wake up and stays the same all day long. It's just something you're going to have to come to terms with, unless your last name is Hudson, as in rock, or Goulet, as in Robert. You won't even come close to hair like mine if your lifetime, no matter what your plop on your head, Ron Burgundy. One other quick story about my hair. In 1971, I was awarded the prestigious Action Man Magazine Award for Best Hair. It's quite the honor. Past winners have been Lauren Green, Bobby Sherman, and professional golfer Johnny Miller, among others. So yes, it's a very big deal. The big shots over at Action Man Magazine and Brunswick Bowling Balls fly the winners first class to Hawaii for an all-expense-paid weekend of fun and sun at Eros Hotel and Spa. Beautiful mixed-race nude women parade around with colorful drinks, sashaying between ice sculptures of scenes from the Kama Sutra, and live exotic animals in chains. And live exotic animals in chains. It's a first-class operation all around. Although I'm not the biggest celebrity at the gathering, Buddy Hackett and Agnes Moorehead are both in attendance. I feel pretty at home surrounded by all this class and style. I plant myself at the Outrigger bar and enjoy a whole menu full of ice cream drinks while feasting on shrimp and hot dogs. I will admit, straight up, I'm doing my very best to put out some burgundy sex signals. From the hotel gift shop, I purchased a bold new swimsuit and robe that are most definitely working. I'm getting more than my shares of looks. That swimsuit was hands down my favorite for years until my associate Brian Fatana told me it was a pair of women's underwear. Carpe diem. Sure enough, I lock eyes with a sultry temptress with a name tag that reads Kimberly Groff, Brunswick Bowling. For her protection, she is a married woman with children from Sterling, Illinois. I will call her Tanya Lapkin. We later had relations in many different positions and styles. But that's not where this story is going, although it's hard not to think about it. As Tanya Lampkin is making her way over to me at the bar and Sir Roderick Hainsworth is peeking out of my swimsuit, woman's underwear, a sudden burst of crashing plates and general commotion explodes out by the pool. From where I'm perched, I can barely make it out, but someone is yelling my name, Ron Burgundy! You are an imposter! I think I've made it very clear I abhor violence of any kind, but when it comes looking for me, I sleuth out my chances to decide if I need to run away or stand my ground. Ron Burgundy! I know you're at this hotel. Almost more singing and yelling, really. I stand still uncertain if I'm going to take off or get ready for some boisterous action. But I've run out of time. Moving at me like a charging rhino is Hollywood legend and world-class singer Jim Neighbors. Jim Neighbors. I quickly sidestep his attack and give him a karate chop to the back of his head. Unfazed, he turns on me and swipes a bear claw-sized fist at my head, which I fend off with my left Jack Johnson, as you may recall from the previous chapters. No time to lose. I bring Tom O'Leary from down below and come up strong on Neighbor's chin. The big hand hardly rocks back at all. Too much man there. I lay into him with some rabbit punches to his breadbasket nothing. Something like Thor's mighty hammer comes down on my head, and I start to wobble. Jim Neighbors' television's Gormer pile is about to take me down. Time to get tricky. Like a boxer just trying to make it through a round. I dive at the big fella and grab on for dear life. I need to catch my breath. We dance like this for a few minutes. It starts to dawn on me that Neighbors is enjoying the close combat with another man. He relaxes for a second and pow! Tom O'Leary right to the nutsack. Down goes Gomer in a pile. Just too hard to resist. It's a chuckle for sure. Once he's down, I get into his mug. Hey, what's the big idea? He gives me a confused look and for a second, and then sheepishly admits, someone said your hair was better than mine, and I got sore. Then he smiles and starts laughing. It's an infectious laughter, so I start giggling too. Pretty soon, we both are chuckling up a storm. We became friends. Tanya Lampkin invited the two of us up to her room, along with Hawaiian lounge singer Don Ho. A lot of beef got passed around that night, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I thought I'd share that story about my hair. And there you have it. That is the story of Ron Burgundy's hair. We will continue off next time, but thank you everybody for joining me for this, and see you soon.